Will started his digital marketing career in the late 90s, when many of us, including myself, were still in high school. I didn't even know what digital marketing was. He created a website that eventually became Match.com, and when you think about it, it's 15 years ago that he created a website that's now the world's largest dating site, so it's pretty phenomenal to be able to say that.
Story the other day, a guy's at a casino, which is a lot like being in Silicon Valley. He sees someone walk by with a huge pile of money. He says, "Man, what did you do to get all that money?" And the guy goes, "Well, just put it all on 14. So, Silicon Valley is a lot like a casino. You look around, there's all this success. You ask people what they did to get that success. And some people can tell you, well, I think I did this or I think I did that. And the hard part is it's really hard to know. And you can look at almost any behavior and someone, no matter how crazy the behavior, has done that behavior and gotten extremely rich doing it out here. When I started my first company, there was absolutely no way we should have succeeded. And I'll get into that more later. I just don't have enough sense to realize that a lot of times. And sometimes, when you get in the ring and you fight hard enough, you get lucky. So it really all started with, there were two major companies. Well, actually, there was a really major company and there was a minor startup in Dallas. So Match.com started out here. Gary Crimmon was the founder. He raised $10 million and started a year ahead of when we began in Dallas. So fast forward, Dave Kinney and I had a whopping total of $2,000 that we were willing to risk on this crazy internet stuff. And what we learned for $1,000 was that it cost $5 to get someone crazy enough to put their profile up on the internet in 1995. And at that time, Match.com had 20,000 profiles. And so you can kind of do the math. We said, well, okay, we need about $100,000 and we can catch them. So literally, we kept our day job, and neither of us quit and went full-time until we had $15,000 a month in revenue 18 months later. We grew our company with no other outside capital for 5 years and sold it for $47.5 million. So the point is, especially when you're doing your very first startup, you're always on empty. And you will always have limited resources. The funny thing about it is, though, is everyone has limited resources. I went and did an internship at Chevron, and they were having this huge budgeting cycle around which projects to do. Even Chevron can't do every oil project, every potential payoff that they want to do. So if every company on the planet, every person on the planet has to operate within a set of limited resources. The key is getting very clear on what resources you have and which ones you lack, and then figuring out what's a strategy that allows you to personally move forward. So we started to develop this triage system. And what it amounted to was we would stack rank every possible action that we could come up with that we were going to do that week. And the inputs were how much effort. Like, was it going to take all of my time? Was it going to take all of my time and 2 other engineers? What was the expected payoff? Like, what did we think it was going to produce? Like, what were we hoping? Best case, worst case, middle case. Then, how long was it going to take? And so, what that would lead to is, if something was going to take 5 minutes, we just did it. Like, screw it. We don't even have to talk about it. It's 5 minutes, done, off the plate. If it was going to take 2 or 3 days, then you start stack ranking with what the expected payout is. Now, in our case, dating is, customer acquisition driven, which means that it's all revenue and monetization driven. You can translate this to any business. I mean, there's some metric that you care about that if you increase, will increase the value of your company that you're building. And if you start really paying attention to this, you get better at guessing the top 2. Because at first, we really sucked. I mean, we thought, it's not going to take that long. That'll double our business. None of that was true. But we got better and better. And one of the things we really did was, if the payoff was too far in the future, like 3 weeks too far in the future, we would break the project down into what can we do this week that will produce tangible results. And we hardly ever worked on anything that took longer than 2 weeks. So, traction is really volume times the activity level. Now, that activity level can be yield, such as the percentage of people who put in a profile, the number of people who post something, the number of people who buy. What I find is a lot of people have trouble analyzing which one of those is the most important to work on. So I've run into many entrepreneurs that have, one in particular, she generated $300 profit per customer per month. And she was trying to raise money to hire 2 more engineers to make the product better. But she had a total volume of 30 customers. If she just doubled her volume, she could hire the damn engineer without begging for the money. So, but in her mind, the product not being perfect bothered her so much that she was working on the part of the problem which made it hard for her to succeed. And so it's really being brutally honest about which activity will generate more traction. You generate more traction, people will throw money at you.